Hello everyone, welcome to the third part of our Android voice recorder application tutorial. So in this video we are going to work on the recordings fragment to show all the recording files from our folder to a recycler view. So let's first close all of these existing files, and here at first let's design the recordings fragment layout. So here at first I'll change this orientation of the parent linear layout to vertical. The background color will be black as it is, and here we need to delete this text view, and here we'll add a new recycler view. So here for the width and height I'll pass match parent and match parent, and I'll give this recycler view an ID also. I'll call this recycler_records. Alright, so now we can design a custom layout for our recycler view items. So let's quickly do that. For this I'll go to the layouts folder, and here I'll create a new layout resource file. I'll call this custom_item. Hit enter, and let's go to the split mode, and here I am going to change the parent layout to a linear layout. So here I'll keep its width as match parent, and the height I'll change it to wrap content, and I'll change its orientation to horizontal, and let's give this a ID also. We'll need that later. I'll call this container. Okay, and for the background color of this linear layout I'll pass Android color transparent here. Alright, so inside this linear layout I'll pass a image view here. I'll set the width of this image view to 60 dp, and same for the height also 60 dp. I'll give this image view an ID also. I'll call this imgrec. Alright, and let's pass a image for this image view now. So for the source image I'll pass @drawable/ic_recordings. So here I'm using my own images for the source image. I have already mentioned in my previous video that I'll give the download link of these files in the description. You can check it from there. So let me zoom in a little. Okay, so here let's give this image some padding. Let's give it 10 dp. I think it looks fine now. After this image view I'll pass a text view here, and for the text view's width I'll pass match parent, and for the height of this text view I'll pass 60 dp. Okay, let's give this text view an ID also. I'll call this txt name, and then let's set a gravity to this text view to center. Let's actually change this to center vertical. That will do much better. Let's change the text size to 24 sp maybe. I think that is fine. Let's change the text color to color white @color/white. Let's give this a margin to the left to 10 dp, and now let's make this give a scrolling effect. For this we have to give it a single line to true, and then I'll set the ellipse size to marquee, and then the marquee repeat limit to marquee forever, and then horizontal scroll horizontally to true. Alright, so that's all the attributes for our text view. So our custom item for our recycler view is now done. Now we can work on the fragment class of our recordings fragment. So let's go here, and here we need to define those views first. So here in the recordings fragments XML file, we had the recycler view. So for this I'll pass private recycler view. I'll call this recycler view. And then for the file list, we have to create a list here, private list of file. I'll call this file list. Okay, so as we are using a custom layout for our recycler view, let's create a view holder first. So for the view holder, I'm going to create a new class here. I'll call this rec view holder, and here for the view holder I'll make this extends recycler view dot view holder. Okay, here we need to create the constructor, so I have created that, and here we need to define our views. So I will call public. At first we had our text view. We'll mainly work on the text view, we don't need the image view here. So I'll call this as TV name, maybe that was the name. Okay, and then for the container we had a linear layout, so public linear layout, I'll call this container. Okay, and we need to initialize them inside the constructor. So I'll call TV name equals item view dot find view by id r dot id dot TV. Okay, it was txt name. All right, and then for the container I'll pass item view dot find view by id r dot id dot container. All right, so our view holder is now ready. Now we can create a custom adapter for our recycler view. So here inside this adapter package I'll create a new Java class. I'll call this let's call this rec adapter class, and let's make this extends recycler view dot adapter, and here I'll pass the view holder which we created, which is rec view holder. Alright, and it's showing some error. We need to implement some methods, so select all of them and click OK. Okay, so here we have that method. So let's first define some objects here inside the recording adapter. So I'll create a context here, private context, and then let's initialize or define a file list. So private list of file, I'll call this file list, and then let's create a constructor with this. So here inside this empty space I'll right click and click on generate, and I'll click on constructor, select both of them and click on OK. So here we have our constructor. So now we can go for the methods here. So here at the onCreate view holder, instead of returning null, we are going to return a new rec view holder, and here I'll pass layout inflator dot from, and I'll pass the context here, and then I'll write dot inflate, and for the layout I'll pass r dot layout dot custom item, maybe it was okay, custom item, and the second parameter is the parent, and the third one is false. All right, so that's it for the recording view holder. And then for the onBind view holder, we will set the recording file names for our inside our text view. So let's quickly do that. So I'll write holder dot tv name dot set text, and here I'll pass the file name. So file list dot get from position dot get name. All right, it will set the name inside the text view, and then we need to write holder dot tv name dot set selected to true to give this a horizontal scrolling effect. And let's actually work on the on click listener also. So for this we need to just create an interface here. So I'll create a new Java class. I'll call this on select listener, and that will be a interface. So here for the interface I'm going to create a new method here called void on selected, and here the parameter will be a file. It's an error, hit alt enter. All right, add a semicolon here. So that's our interface for on select listener. Now we can go back to the recording adapter. Let's create an object for the on select listener also. So private on select listener, I'll call this listener, and we need to also add this in the constructor here. On select listener, okay, add it here also. This dot listener equals listener. All right, and here we don't need anything. Okay, so here we need to implement the on selected listener inside the on bind view holder. So here I'll write holder dot container dot set on click listener new view dot on click listener, and here I'll just call our listener here. So listener dot on selected method, and here I'll pass the file from the file list dot get from position. Okay, and we will handle this inside our fragment class. So we are done with the on bind view holder. And now for the get item count, instead of returning 0, I'll return file list dot size. Okay, so our recording adapter is now done. Now we can go back to the recordings fragment, and here I'll initialize our recording adapter also. So private rec adapter, I'll call this recording adapter, and then we need the file path from where we need to fetch the files. So we already defined that inside our recorder fragment. So I'll just go into here and copy this path, and I'll go back to the recordings fragment and paste it here. You can see here is the file path that we created. All right, now inside this on create view method, I'll call a method to display files, and I'll create this method. So here we'll write some code to show the files inside the recycler view. So I'll initialize the recycler view here. Recycler view equals view dot find view by id r dot id dot recycler records, and then recycler view dot set has fixed size to true. Recycler view dot set layout manager new grid layout manager, and I'll pass the context here, and the span count will be of 1. Then I'll initialize our file list. So file list equals new array list, and then we need to find all the recording files from our particular folder. So let's create another method here. I'll create public array list file. I'll call this find file, and for the parameter I'll pass a file. Now inside this method I'll create a new array list of file. I'll call this array list equals new array list. Then I'll also create a file array. I'll call this files equals the file that we are getting from the parameter here dot list files. So that will get all the files inside that particular directory that will pass here, and then we need to check for the recording files here. So for this I will write a for loop for file single file in files. So we'll check all the single files inside that files that we are getting from the parameter, and we'll check for the files with the extension called .amr. So I'll check a if statement here. So I'll call the single file dot get name dot to lowercase dot ends with, and we'll check if it ends with .amr or not. So if it ends with .amr, then we will add this to the array list. So array list dot add, and I'll pass the single file here, and after that outside of the for loop I'll return that array list. Alright, now we can go to our display files method again, and here I'll write file list dot add all, and here I'll pass or call the find file methods, find file, and here I'll pass the path that we got. So the path here is that what we defined here, the folder from the internal storage where the audio files are saved. So it will search inside that particular folder for all the .amr files, and we'll add them inside this file list. Okay, and now we need to pass the file list to the adapter. So I'll call the recording adapter object equals new recording adapter, and here at first I need to pass the context, then I need to pass the file list, and thirdly we need to pass the listener, which is this. Alright, and as you can see it's showing an error because we have not defined the or implemented the interface here. So I'll write implements on select listener. Okay, it's showing error because we need to implement a method. So hit on OK. That will add the on selected method here, and the error here is now gone. So now we can set this recording adapter to our recycler view. So I'll call our recycler view dot set adapter, and I'll pass this recording adapter here. Alright, now we can implement the on selected method here, and what we want to do inside this on selected method is we want to play this .amr file. Okay, so for this actually we need to write some few lines of code here. So at first we will make a XML directory here. So inside this res folder I'll right click on it and create a new folder, XML resource folder. Click on finish, and here we have this XML folder. Here I'll create a new XML resource file. I'll call this provider underscore paths. Go to split view, and here I'll just delete this and replace it with paths, and inside these paths we need to call the external path, and for the name I'll pass external underscore files, and for the path I'll write dot. Okay, let's close this tag. So this is our provider's path. Now we need to go to the manifest file to define it here under this application tag. Sorry, we need to paste it inside this application tag. We need to paste it under this activity tag here. So I'll just paste it here. You can copy this. So once you are done, we can go back to our recordings fragment here, and here I'll create a new URI. So URI equals file provider dot get URI for file, and here I'll pass the context at first, and then we need to pass the package name. So get context dot get application context dot get package name, and we'll add the dot provider here, dot provider, and lastly I'll pass the file. Alright, so if you see here, this is how it is. Okay, and then I'll create a intent here. So intent, alt enter, intent equals new intent, and here I'll set the type of this intent to intent dot action view, and then I'll set data and type for the intent. So intent dot set data and type. So I'll first pass the URI, and for the type here, as it's a audio file, I'll pass audio or XWAV. Alright, and then I'll add a intent flag here. So intent dot add flags, and for the flag I'll pass intent dot flag grant read URI permission. Alright, and then finally we can start our activity with the intent. So get context dot start activity, and I'll pass the intent here. Alright, so that will launch the music player while we click on the file inside our recycler view. And now one thing we need to notice, that in the view pager, the fragments doesn't go into sleep, or it doesn't call the on resume state on every time we hide or open that fragment. So in order to handle that, we need to create or override a method here, set user visible hint. So here, instead of returning the super, after the super call, I'll check if is visible to user, then I'll show display files. So if it is if it is active, then it will launch the or load the recycler view again. So that's it. Now let's run this application in our phone and see if we get the recording files in our recycler view or not. So as you can see, our app is now opened, and if I go to the recordings, it's showing the last recording that I recorded on the previous video. So if I click on that, it will start playing that recording.
Hello everyone, I am Ivan and I am recording.
So let's close this. Okay, now let's try to add another recording. So I'll click on here. Hello everyone, this is the testing for the recordings fragment. Let's stop this now. And now if we go to the recordings fragment, you can see the second recording is added. So if I click on that,
hello everyone, this is the testing for the recordings fragment.
alright, so here it is. That's how we can make a simple voice recorder application for Android. And thank you so much for watching. If you have any confusion, you can comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and give a like to this video. Thank you so much.